Could ISIS be nearing its end?
One iconic star still being mourned a month later.
And downtown Columbia's landscape continues to change. Good morning. Today is Monday, May 16th, 2016. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Megan Judy.
And I'm Justin Kollar.
And I'm Tim Schmidt. We're going to be tracking a lot of rainfall here over the next 48 hours, and it's raining right now. A lot of heavy rain down towards our south. Here's a look at that towards just along the Missouri River in between Boone County and Callaway County and even into Cole. Some of those heavier showers are with us right now. There's more heavy rain expected over northern Missouri, and then get ready for 100% chances of rain pretty much for the entire morning and afternoon and evening, and well, even into tomorrow too. Temperatures are going to be into the lower and middle 50s here, even into the afternoon. Heavy rainfall possible. We are talking flash flooding as well, especially overnight and into tomorrow morning. I'll have a breakdown of how much rain we could see and where some of that should shape up coming up here in a little bit.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. ISIS may be losing ground, but so far, not the war. ISIS has lost 3 Syrian cities in the past 6 weeks. These trio of losses are among the largest defeats ISIS has suffered in the past 2 years. Although weakened, some believe ISIS is protecting its forces in a bid to save its Iraqi and Syrian capitals, Mosul and Raqqa.
Security was tight as mourners packed a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall for a memorial for megastar Prince. The rock icon worshipped there before he died last month. Media and fans were kept well back from the invitation-only event. Prince's spiritual mentor echoed a thought he'd shared before. The most important thing to Prince was being able to share scripture. Columbia will begin its citywide celebration of active transportation with Bike, Walk, and Wheel Week. It's the 15th year of the event. KOMU 8's Mark Kim is live at Grindstone Nature Area to tell us what to expect from this week's festivities.
Parks and Recreation is providing plenty of ways for people to get involved in Bike, Walk, and Wheel Week. I'm at Grindstone Nature Area where there will be a 3.5-mile walk tonight. Some other events include bike maintenance clinics, an electric bike ride with former Columbia Mayor Darwin Heineman, and free bus rides from KOMU Connect. This week wraps up Saturday with a bike ride around Columbia. The event coordinator told me he hopes this week's events get more people involved in active transportation, especially biking.
This week is a good way for people to come out and just kind of dip their toes in the water and just try it out and come out on a group ride or come out with your family and do one of these events.
I asked the local biker how he feels about this week's events, and he told me he's glad the city shows an appreciation for their bikers. Reporting live in Columbia, Mark Kim, KOMU 8 News.
Republican leaders in Oklahoma are sobering to a stark reality. They now believe they will have to expand the state's Medicaid program in order to trigger billions of dollars of federal aid. It's all part of President Obama's health care mandate. That, in Oklahoma's case, will plug a $1.3 billion hole in the budget. Oklahoma lawmakers are also considering a tax hike to cover the state's share of health care costs. President Obama called on states to expand their Medicaid insurance for low-income residents as part of his 2014 health overhaul. Most Democratic-led states did so, along with a handful of GOP states. But in Oklahoma, even with its 20% of its population on Medicaid, the state had said no way to expanding its Medicaid.
Today marks the 50-year anniversary of a period in Chinese history since declared a, quote, catastrophe. But watching the Chinese media, you'd hardly know. Half a century ago, a decade-long cultural revolution of class warfare began to revive communist ideals. Since then, authorities have suppressed discussion of the violent events. China's holding no official events to commemorate the day.
About 39,000 Verizon employees in 9 eastern states have agreed to restart negotiations and will return to the bargaining table tomorrow. Workers walked off the job nearly 5 weeks ago and have been without a contract since August. The unions have said they're striking because Verizon wants to freeze pensions, make layoffs easier, and rely more on contract workers. A British newspaper reports the EU is fining Google more than $3 billion. The record antitrust fine comes amid a 6-year-long case in which the EU accused Google of promoting its shopping service at the expense of rival services. The EU Commission is allowed to fine firms up to 10% of its annual sales. For Google, this would be a fine of more than $6 billion.
Even after lawmakers decided to let the people choose whether they want voter IDs, Missouri is still up in arms. Opponents of the measure met together at the Capitol in hopes of educating people on why it's wrong for the state. A live look now out of mid-Missouri. You're looking live over Columbia. Your time is 4:35. This is KOMU 8 News Today.
The weekend too. Lots of weddings I know are shaping up here for this upcoming weekend. I've had a lot of phone calls. Hey Tim, what's going to happen?
Right, and I just asked about baseball. What baseball games are we going to have this week? Which ones are going to get canceled?
A lot of delays and cancellations.
Yeah, today and tomorrow's baseball games probably not looking too good.
Can't delay and cancel the weddings.
Yeah.
So that you just
hopefully
need a
there's a
backup
tent
plan.
in the backup. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Tim.
Columbia City Council is meeting today to discuss future changes to city policy. Mayor Brian Treese has a proposal concerning students' housing projects downtown. KOMU 8's Jordan McGee is outside Columbia City Hall with what the council will be voting on tonight.
Tonight, City Council members will be voting on whether or not they'll freeze any new downtown student housing developments from now until the 1st of December. Mayor Brian Treese created the proposal. If passed, it would establish a boundary around the city with a 1-mile radius ranging from Elm Street to the north, Stadium Drive to the south, Providence Road to the west, and Hitt Street to the east. 3rd Ward Councilman Carl Scala said the proposal has been in the works for quite some time.
There is starting to be that pressure to reevaluate just exactly what is going on downtown and what we want to see the downtown look like in the future.
Scala said there needs to be a balance between student housing and other needs in the downtown community. Reporting live from downtown Columbia, Jordan McGee, KOMU 8 News.
The Boys and Girls Clubs of Columbia plans to add 14,000 square feet to its facilities. The $2.5 million expansion will expand the music room and add a brand new gym. The Boys and Girls Club hopes it will attract high school kids and keep them off the streets. It's been the end of an era. The last video rental store in Columbia is officially closed. 9th Street Video shuts its doors and Hit Records will take over the space. With more online streaming services available, there's less demand for DVDs. The new owner would like to continue selling movies, but isn't quite sure if that will happen.
Governor Nixon is yet to decide whether to sign a series of bills regarding what information becomes public record. Lawmakers passed bills that would limit access to police body camera footage, as well as agricultural information and criminal records. Supporters of the measures say the proposed laws would protect people's privacy, but opponents say fewer open records will reduce accountability in elected officials. A man accused of shooting a pair of New Hampshire police officers who were chasing him is due in court today. The officers were chasing the man because he matched the description of a suspect in a gas station armed robbery. The 32-year-old suspect is being held without bail on 2 counts of attempted capital murder. Both officers are in good condition. Connecticut man who federal authorities say was a player in the notorious French Connection heroin ring of the 60s and 70s is set to be sentenced today. 75-year-old Alfred Catino faces at least 5 years in prison in a new drug case. Federal authorities say he was part of the French Connection heroin smuggling ring that spawned the 1971 Oscar-winning movie of the same name.
A father-son duo has been charged for the attack of a woman and her 4 daughters. The victims were lured to a Utah house last week and tied up in the basement, but they escaped. The kidnappers falsely believed the woman had reported them to authorities. Authorities say the son had been close friends of the woman's family. Authorities arrested the son this weekend, a few hours after the father turned himself in. Opening statements are expected today in the federal corruption trial of veteran Pennsylvania Congressman, U.S. Representative CHAKA FATTAH, is accused of accepting bribes and misusing campaign funds and federal grants. The 59-year-old FATTAH stands accused of taking a $1 million campaign loan and not paying it back. FATTAH says the FBI unfairly targeted him. State lawmakers voted to let Missourians decide the fate of their voter ID legislation, but some are not ready to give up the fight just yet. The NAACP and other groups teamed up to form a grassroots campaign against the voter ID measure. If passed, voters would have to show a valid Missouri ID in order to vote. Those in favor of the bill say it would help prevent voter fraud. But a church pastor where the event was held told KOMU it goes much deeper than that.
Those are the people that already have barriers. And so those are also the populations that are least likely to currently have a particular kind of ID is a group of citizens that are already marginalized that are at the highest risk of having this further marginalize them.
Missourians will get the chance to change the vote on legislation on the August or November ballots.
College grads all over the country are flooding into the job market.
And businesses are gearing up to catch the best of the best. But graduates shouldn't be as much worried about landing a job as landing the right one.
Columbia is making a splash in safety. We'll explain. All right, thanks so much. Some of your favorite video games may soon be taking to the big screen. Japanese video game maker Nintendo is thinking about making its own movies. The company's licensed its characters in the past, but now it wants to make original film content as well. Nintendo has seen slow growth in recent years amid competition from smartphones and other new technology. It hopes films could revive interest in its franchise. Pfizer's making it harder for its drugs to be used in lethal injections. The company released a statement saying it makes products to save lives. Experts say it's hard to know the real story because of secrecy regarding lethal injection drugs. Pfizer is the second largest pharmaceutical company in the world.
With most of the big graduation weekends coming to an end, new college graduates are flooding out into the job market to hopefully find their first real job.
That's the plan, right? NBC's Chris Clackham has more on what grads should do to land the right one.
With college graduation ceremonies happening by the dozens each day, now comes the hard part, landing that first job. But this year's supposed to be different.
There's a really robust market out there, so it's a good time to be coming out of school with a lot of job opportunities for the new grads.
Dawn Fays with a specialized staffing firm, Robert Half Inc., whose survey found those grads with degrees in business, computer science, or accounting are likely to do well, even if the first job's only for the experience.
Get into the workforce, to be making some money, and to really start understanding what it's like to be in an office setting, get that exposure, build your network, build your resume.
The firm's advice is even if the job's in a field other than the degree, graduates should still pounce, even if the parents disagree.
Not that your parents aren't important, they are, you should listen to them, but you should really have some mentors out there in the market that can help give really good perspective for you about the job opportunities and the marketplace today.
And she says if that first job isn't the right one, don't panic.
The most important thing is not to make a knee-jerk reaction and just run out of there once you got the job. You got to give it some time.
Otherwise, grads may find themselves with nothing but time on their hands. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Businesses usually prepare for the influx of new recruits around May and December graduations. Your eye doctor gives your prescription for glasses or contact lenses after your exam. It's known as the eyeglasses rule. It also says the doctor can't require a patient to buy eyeglasses or contact lenses. Consumers can use the prescription to buy those products elsewhere. The FTC just recently sent 38 letters to prescribers warning them of potential violations to the rule. Vacationers have spoken, and the hottest summer spots this year are Las Vegas, Cancun, and Orlando. The survey by TripAdvisor says the cheapest week to head to Vegas this summer will be August 15th through the 21st. While the cheapest for Cancun or Orlando will be August 22nd through the 28th. The amount of Americans planning vacations is up 6% from last year.
Subaru is telling owners of some newer Legacy and Outback cars not to get behind the wheel. The company is recalling more than 50,000 2016 and 2017 cars and SUVs for steering failure. The company has not reported any crashes or injuries from the defect. Subaru has told dealers to stop selling them until the problem has been fixed.
School is winding down and temperatures are moving up, and kids will soon be hitting the pools and lakes. KOMU 8's Patrick Windsor tells us how Columbia schools are trying to make sure your kids have a safe summer.
Spending time in and around water is a staple of the summer. Now, Columbia Public Schools are trying to make sure kids stay safe.
We have the ability to impact all children. We don't know that they're getting that kind of instruction at home. And it is important that they learn how to be safe in and around the water.
Columbia Public Schools currently has a program in place that teaches water and swim safety to third graders in health class. The program covers the basics from wearing your life jacket to always swimming with a buddy in a supervised area. Cornell says they focus on making sure kids know the dangers of water.
Yes, it's fun and it's great, but you need to always be aware that it can be dangerous.
Mocker Swim School Director Joanne Mocker says the best form of water and swim safety is to know how to swim.
I'm a big believer on kids learning how to save themselves and taking care of themselves, because it's when no one's around that they are their last best hope.
Mocker says a lot of drownings that occur happen to those who did not plan on going swimming in the first place. Patrick Windsor, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
According to the CDC, about 10 people die from drownings every day.
I'm gonna try one more time, and then if it doesn't work, then...
I'll tell you about the activities going on throughout the week to promote active transportation.
That's a live look over Lake of the Ozarks at 4:55. We'll be right back.